And we are live, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Zukradowski and Jason Burmis of wearechange.org doing a special live broadcast as obviously, of course, the Mueller report is live and out there for every person to read with, of course, some redactions. We're going to talk about everything. We're going to talk about bars, things. Me and Jason have a little kind of different perspective on it. Jason's looking at the comments, and the documents. You're searching it by keywords. You think that there's going to be significant trouble for Trump just really quickly, right?
Oh, absolutely. This is, as I predicted weeks ago when we found out it was actually finished. I go, listen, obstruction of justice is the new Russian collusion. We know already that before the report even came out, before Bob Barr gave his press conference, what do we have? Pelosi and Schumer demanding that Robert Mueller testify to Congress. And we're going to read some passages here that I promise you, Robert Mueller's not going to be nice. He's going to bring up every single thing he thought may have been obstruction of justice. After all, there's about 190 pages on it. Section 2 is 190 pages. And really oddly, Luke, on the first part of the report, there's a lot more redactions than there are on the part that would cause the president to possibly be charged with obstruction of justice. And you know what they sum up? You know what? We don't think it would be bad for the presidency. He could absolutely do his job while being indicted on this.
Well, people need to understand this is a 400-page report. I kind of see it a little bit differently. Huh?
440.
A 440 pages, a lot of pages to go through here. So obviously a lot of news organizations are scrambling. CNN has literally brought out all of their yuppie, latte drinking, limousine liberal pundits that have been wrong on this for 3 years, hoping for some last bastion of credibility here. But I disagree with you a little bit because just seeing the initial reactions, we're going to go through those documents and let's read every instant of it because on CNN, one of the headlines literally right now is, of course, Robert Mueller releasing a statement saying that Trump's public acts could be considered obstruction of justice. Is that really what we're going after now? Public acts? Public actions. A lot of people, as you're seeing by the GIF playing behind us, are seeing this as a celebration. They're celebrating in meme and GIF form all over the internet. But I'm also seeing the major discussion right now on CNN being like, well, you know, they got a whole bunch of people for lying, for saying things that were not true under oath. That's going to be big, but there needs to be a big discussion between Pelosi and the Democrats if there's going to be impeachment. And you know, there was a number of people who lied. And I'm like, wait. Those are mainly false perjury traps that were laid up by this investigation, which were clear, especially if you look at what happened to Jerome Corsi. Jerome Corsi was one of those individuals that was pressured, had the full weight of the Mueller investigation put on him, and he said, I'm not complying. They dropped all the charges. The people who did comply, the people who did testify, allegedly, from what we're hearing from the opposite side, tripped them up and, of course, made them say false statements, or they did make false statements, and then they were charged mainly with those. Because you look at all the charges that came out of this, we looked at them, we saw them, and we were calling it out from day one. It was, what is it? Tax evasion, making false statements. And I'm like, wait. That's not anything. They were going after Stormy Daniels. They were going after Fedor Emelianenko from the beginning. I want to give a little timeline here before we get into it, Jason, because I think it's important. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong on any of the timelines. All this information came out from the Steele dossier right as Trump was elected. And automatically, I called it out, and We Are Change called it out, and other people part of this organization called it out. They're like, yeah, this is based on lies. There's absolutely no truth behind this. We were, of course, attacked. We were, of course, vilified. We were called Russian propaganda, not just by people online. You got to understand, the Washington Post literally created an expose and listed websites that they linked to, of course, Russian propaganda. We were on that website for just simply standing up against this. The big companies that were lying about this all along went to social media and said, look, there's Russian collusion. These people need to stop. Social media, YouTube, Google, Twitter, Facebook said, yes, we have to change the algorithm. We have to make sure that our elections can't be swayed by Russia because Russia interfered. Russia participated in this. And of course, the big tech monopolies quashed down on anyone telling the truth about this, which we just found out about now. There was no Russian collusion. Then we go on. We finally have the craziness of this investigation, which we're calling out as it was happening. The report's finished. Barr does his report. We're like, yeah, I mean, there's no reason we believed he lied through his little synopsis, through his little spark notes that were released. What was it? Just 2 weeks ago, Jason?
It was maybe a little bit more than that, because I believe
yeah. Well, around 2 weeks, he released, the Attorney General released a little synopsis saying, hey, there's no Russian collusion. They decided not to do anything with obstruction, and we were like, yeah, that seems legitimate.
No,
everyone else
again. I kept saying to you that no, this is the second part of the report, and even though the Barr said that, that's not what was going to be in the report, and it's not what's in the report. Look, we're looking at it right here. Okay, this is the introduction to the 180+ page section. Go ahead.
But hold on, Jason. I just want to finish off the timeline here, because there was people literally in the streets protesting, saying the report is never going to come out. We need the report, and we're like, hey guys, the report's going to come out. Like, and then you were always, and then we were looking at the documents, but you specifically were saying there's probably going to be a lot more with obstruction just looking at the synopsis here, and that's what you're pointing at now. I don't believe it, but what's your case here? What's your case for the obstruction charge that you think is happening? And then we're also going to get into the F comment that Trump also made. But
all
go
right,
ahead,
it's real simple, guys. You go to page 213. We're going to get focused on 214, but 213 is when it's the introduction to volume 2. This is a 2-part report. So again, the part that is somewhat redacted, I'm saying about 10-15%, is all about Russian collusion. It also denies the Seth Rich story very briefly. We're going to get to that. I think that's very important in the first section. Now, when we get to the subsections, first, second, third, and then the final, fourth, clearly this is what it states. If we had confidence after a thorough investigation of the facts that the president clearly did not commit obstruction of justice, we would so state. Based on the facts and the applicable legal standards, however, we were unable to reach that judgment. Here it gets better. The evidence.
But Jason, how's that different than the synopsis that was released, which had very similar language over 2 weeks ago?
Because, again, Barr said that there was no obstruction, and they found no obstruction. He does not say that. He says, watch, the evidence we obtained about the president's actions and intent presents difficult issues that prevent us from conclusively determining that no criminal conduct occurred. So now they're saying there's possible criminal conduct. Accordingly, while this report does not conclude the president committed a crime, it does not exonerate him. So basically they're saying he absolutely could have committed a crime, and then the sum of it says they want to charge him.
I call hooey because this is like arresting someone for resisting arrest and nothing else. What'd you arrest him for? Well, we don't know. Again, you're talking about a response. This is also kind of the similar language and similar headlines I'm reading right now on CNN. They're like, Trump responded bad to this. He said he was effed. He said that this is going to be the end of his presidency when, of course, Mueller was announced as the new head of this council. And they're saying that this is indicative. And I'm like, that's stretching, to say the least. Because, again, I still hold strongly with my major analogy here that, again, none of this would have happened if it wasn't for this kind of false pressure that was all based on lies. We all knew it was based on lies. We were calling it out. It didn't take a genius to understand that. It was all based on the Steele dossier. The Steele dossier, which of course was financed, GPS fusion, and pretty much Hillary Clinton's camp, essentially. It was all bullcrap from the very beginning. So we'll see what happens. But again, I just want to thank everyone tuning in to D Live and We Are Change on our YouTube channels. We are live simultaneously on both a decentralized a platform that says that they're trying to be decentralized. That's still up in air on dlive.tv/We Are Change. And of course, our main channel here on youtube.com/We Are Change. I want to thank everyone participating in the chat rooms, especially Protodactyx56, who just donated 1 lemon diamond on the D Live platform, which of course we're also using and experimenting on recently as well. I am on the main website here, on the main YouTube site.
We're on Pulse Change, bro.
Pop up.
We're on Pulse
I'm
Change.
sorry?
We're on Pulse Change right now. We're on the backup.
Oh, I thought we were on the main channel.
You didn't read through the thing I sent you where I clearly said we would be
No,
going
I
live
didn't.
on the
I was
backup.
like, we're going live. I'm like, okay. I thought we were going live on the main one. All right,
Anyway,
let me check the Pulse Change channel. Let me see the engagement on there as well.
Yeah.
So we can communicate what you guys see, what you guys find interesting. If you guys have any specific questions about this very specific thing. You told me we're going live. You never said Pulse Change.
If you read through what I actually sent you, I
I'm reading
absolutely
through
did.
right now, you son of a gun.
It says on the backup channel in a full section, and then I'm not even going to get into it, but if you scroll through it, it clearly says it. Guys, I want to keep up and keep you informed, because here's how it sums up. Remember, that was the introduction. Now here's the sum. This is it, right here, 180. Finally, history provides no reason to believe that any asserting chilling effect justifies exempting the president from the obstruction laws. In other words, we should charge him. As a historical matter, presidents have very seldom been the subjects of a grand jury investigation, and it is rarer still for the circumstance to raise even the possibility of a corrupt personal motive for arguably obstructive action through the president's use of his official power. Accordingly, the president's conduct of office should not be chill-based or hypothetical concerns about the possible application of corrupt motive standard in this context. And in the sum, it says the Supreme Court says no reason not to charge him. They want to charge him.
Dude, I just sent you a link. You got to put this on screen. You have Vice News with another hippie wannabe yuppie reading the Mueller report with literally a photo of Robert Mueller on his desk in a dark room in like the most asinine, like saddest, pathetic news report that we could see here, with some lady making something like a skull in the background. This is the most asinine, stupidest reaction. Look at this. This is Twitter moments. This is what Twitter is promoting. The stupid losers who were, again, lying. This is the bigger takeaway here, Jason. Mm-hmm. They were lying. Do you want to play some of this?
No, I don't want to play this. Number one, it's Vice, and we might get hit with a copyright thing. The guy has a plant. It looks ridiculous. Look at his hair. If you have a haircut like that, folks, change it. I don't mind his beard, but I don't think this gentleman should be rocking it.
I bet he spends premium. Look, he has the whole report. He's just reading it. He looks so depressed. There's a lady in the background. It looks like she's constructing some kind of skull. I don't know what she's doing back there.
You think
but
that's
this guy
a lady?
was seriously depressed. Why does the liberal establishment, mainstream media, why do they worship Mueller? What is wrong with them? Literally, he has a picture printed on his desk of Robert Mueller like it's his wife. That's what he's doing, right? What is wrong with these individuals? How sick, demented, and just absolutely deranged are these individuals to trust the former head of the FBI, which again, Jason, doesn't have the best record, to say the least. We got into that previously before, but for the media establishment to literally go towards loving the establishment, loving agencies that run on secrecy, absolutely sick. Oh, look, it looks like he got a sandwich. And it looks like there's some audio. Look, there's another hipster lady. Of course, look, she has her pants all the way up to her bosoms. Nice floral pirate white shirt dress, of course. But again, let's get to the meat and potatoes here, because there's still a lot in this report that has been uncovered. We can talk about the reactions, but Jason, again, the comment that I'm seeing mostly played out, and it's probably because of sensational aspects. And if you can, let's try to find it and try to read it in full. Is when Trump said, "I'm effed," after special counsel's appointment, and saying that this is the end of his presidency. There deserves to be some context. Would you mind finding that? And
it's right there. It's up. We've been looking at it. So, guys, okay. It's literally been up for the last.
I'm give you some time. I'm just trying to leverage there, make sure we're all good here. We're doing this live, so we don't want to be like CNN here and take a little sandwich break.
That's Vice, isn't that Vice? That's Vice. It's even worse. CNN, Vice, they're all terrible, guys. So, first of all, I want to say that there's no video or audio or official that this happened. I don't doubt it happened, by the way. This is a report by 2 FBI agents. Agent Hunt is the one reporting this part. And the "I'm fucked" comment doesn't really mean that he thinks, "Oh my God, they know about me and poot poot. It's all over. I'm a Russian agent." It's basically him being pissed because he appointed Jeff Sessions, who sat there and campaigned by his sides as Attorney General. Then he finds out that Sessions recuses himself, that there's a special investigation going on, and that Mueller is going to be the head of it, I believe, all that thing. And he basically says that these things end presidencies. Here it is. Everyone tells me if you get one of these independent counsels, it ruins your presidency. It takes years and years. I won't be able to do anything. This is the worst thing that ever happened to me. Now, we already know he's melodramatic. We already know he likes Big Macs. We already know that he likes to curse. So the establishment media is jumping on the little part where he must have cursed and said that he's screwed because of this, as, oh, see, he knew he colluded. How could he not know? No, this is like, I didn't think there was going to be a ridiculous special investigation into this for the next 2 years of my life, not knowing it was going to be 2 years. I hired you because you were supposed to be my boy. And he talks about Eric Holder and Robert Kennedy, basically Robert Kennedy having his brothers back, and Eric Holder maybe running some guns in Fast and the Furious for the Obama administration. I don't know. I didn't say that. I like to keep it monetized. I'm just saying. Those guys were ride or die for their presidents. That's all that quote is. It's a non-quote. It's nothing. It's the one time the F word is dropped in this thing. And again, it's going to be used to be sensationalized. I'm actually more disturbed, guys, with the fact, and by the way, that this is in the obstruction part. Notice that this isn't in the actual investigation part. It's in the obstruction part because this is what they want to focus on. But anyway, you go up to the actual report, and there is some really heavy redactions. Now, a lot of people could say that maybe these heavy redactions, and I've had this thought, Luke, with the harm to ongoing matter, have to do with the Nunes investigation and what's going on.
Wait. Before we get into there, I just want to provide a little bit more context, Jason, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I want to provide context specifically on what you were just talking about, that specific comment, because Trump wasn't wrong. He was completely right. 2 years of investigations, thousands of subpoenas, hundreds of warrants, hundreds of witness interviews. The special counsel was up his woozah with a fine tooth comb looking at every little dingleberry coming out of the cesspool that is Washington, D.C. And obviously, you're going to find a lot of crappy dingleberries. Obviously, you're going to find some peanuts when they're not supposed to be peanuts inside of there. That's one way of characterizing that. Sorry, I don't know why I'm describing it that way. But sorry, I can't.
I got to tell you guys, there will be no peanuts in my stool. Anyway.
wait, hold on. Let me make the bigger analogy here. And he was right, because for 2 years, Trump couldn't do anything because the political conversation was just dominated with Russian collusion, but he's a Russian agent. He's working with Putin. He loves Putin. The mainstream media was literally portraying him making out with Vladimir Putin. Diplomacy, international foreign policy was skewed on so many bastardized levels, all based on this lie, and he wasn't wrong. But at the same time, let's not paint Trump as a victim here, because all the other stuff that he did, he was able to get away with because everyone was just concentrating on Russia, not, of course, bigger issues that he was actually responsible for, that he does deserve to be held accountable for, held his feet to the fire to, but he wasn't at all, mainly because everyone's just absolutely insane and delusioned about Russia. You had something to say? Keep going, Jason.
No, I just want to point out, again, we're scrolling through the beginning of the report, 15 pages 15 to about 32, I think, and you saw heavy amounts of redactions to ongoing matter, and you continue to. There is a lot redacted in the actual part with the Russian collusion story. Now, I also want to point out that they gave, without explanation, the Seth Rich story is here. And they basically debunk it just by the news article. So, WikiLeaks statements disassembling about the source of stolen materials. And if you look, personal privacy, investigative techniques, but that's about it. And then it gets into GRU. You're talking about a paragraph on this very important matter, and basically said, false! We said it's false! It didn't happen! They give no evidence. Let's read it. Beginning in the summer of 2016, Assange and WikiLeaks, where is it right here? I'm sorry, guys. I lost it there for a second. Where is it? Assange and WikiLeaks made a number of statements about Seth Rich, a former DNC staff member who was killed in July 2016. The statements about Rich implied falsely that he had been the source of the stolen DNC emails. On August 9th, 2016, the @WikiLeaks Twitter account posted, announce WikiLeaks has decided to issue a U.S. $20K reward for information leading to the conviction for the murder of DNC staffer Seth Rich. Likewise, on August 25th, 2016, Assange was asked in an interview, why are you so interested in Seth Rich's killer? And responded, we're very interested in anything that might be a threat to alleged WikiLeaks sources. The interview responded, Assange's statements by committing, I know you don't want to reveal your source, but certainly sounds like you're suggesting a man who leaked information to WikiLeaks was then murdered. Assange replied, if there's someone who's potentially connected to our publication and that person has been murdered in a suspicious circumstances, it doesn't necessarily mean that the two are connected, but it is a very serious matter. The type of allegation is very serious, and it's taken very seriously by us. That's about it. Yep, that's a bit. They talk about how inside job and physical proof that the Russians did not give the materials to Assange. That's what's it? They basically, the U.S. intelligence community said no, that didn't happen. That's it. The same U.S. intelligence community that was very, 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 very certain that Russia had colluded with Trump, and we found out that didn't happen. Well, they're very, very, very certain that Seth Rich isn't the leaker either. That good old intelligence community we all love, Luke. Pretty good stuff.
Yeah. Again, this is something we provide that no one else really provides. Skepticism. Don't trust anyone. Don't trust anyone in the Trump administration, and especially don't trust the intelligence agencies, which have a huge track record of lying. And again, remember they were talking about there's 17 intelligence agencies behind this that believe that there was Russian collusion and Russia interfered and it was Russia, and Trump loves Putin and Russia and all that. I'm like, yeah, those are the same people that told us there was weapons of mass destruction. Do you know those are the same people that work on the behests of special interests, not the American people? That's why it's so asinine to see, again, also, Vice is on page 35. It took him this long to just read 35 pages. The reading skills over there are not good in their Brooklyn studio.
Listen, Luke, just so you know, read 35 pages. As I just told you, pages 15 through 35 are so heavily redacted. What exactly were they reading? Watch. This is 14, 15. Let's get back. All right, down. I don't know what's taking so long. Here. Oh, I see. Right down to there. So that what's this? 24. So like 8 of those pages are almost completely blacked out. This is page 26, 27. Taking them that long? This is 28. 29.
This is interesting. Mueller confirms that George Papadopoulos was investigated for being an unregistered agent, not of Russia, but Israel, in one of the documents here. That's also interesting here. Again, the fourth set of allegations against Michael Flynn also are very interesting here because, as we know, every person in the mainstream media that was pushing this narrative was pushing what happened to Michael Flynn. And what happened to Michael Flynn was ultimately Israeli collusion with Jared Kushner, which, of course, was just swept underneath the rug. But ultimately, Michael Flynn is facing the brunt of the law, basically because Netanyahu called Jared Kushner. Jared Kushner called Michael Flynn, and he said, hey, call Russia and tell them to vote in favor of Israel at this big UN resolution that is coming up. And the phone call did take place, but it happened when Trump was, of course, elected, but before he was inaugurated. So before Donald Trump was actually sitting at the Oval Office in that time frame in December, before January. And because of that, it broke a technicality, and that's why Michael Flynn was stripped up, and that's one of the charges put up against him. Israeli collusion, pure Israeli collusion.
Well, I'll say this. It does make the report in some respects. If you take a look on page 175 of the report here, it's 167 on the bottom. It's so confusing. They actually released, Luke, a scanned version of this, so I had to convert it just to be able to, read from it. So instead of giving people the actual, because obviously it was typed on a computer, I would hope. They gave them a scanned document. So bizarre. But
that's most likely because of the redactions. They don't want anyone unredacting it or using kind of software technology, probably, or And it's
Yeah,
just
you
well,
could still
probably
get away
another
with
like
that
stupid
digitally.
security level.
Yeah, you could still get, I guess, but you could still get away with it digitally. It's pretty odd. Obviously, if you look at the way these things were redacted, it looks like some of it was digital, no matter what. But it says on December 21st, 2016, Egypt submitted a resolution to the United Nations Security Council calling on Israel to cease settlement activities in the Palestinian territory. The Security Council, which includes Russia, Russia. was scheduled to vote on the resolutions the following day. There was speculation in the media that the Obama administration would not oppose the resolution. So, this is where they bring in Flynn and the sanctions against Russia. So there is a little bit of stuff on Israel. It's very short. It's about, I'd say, a few more sentences than the section we just saw with Seth Rich. But here you go. Finally, the office investigated whether one of our above campaign advisors, George Papadopoulos, acted as an agent of or at the direction and control of the government of Israel. While the investigation revealed significant ties between Papadopoulos and Israel, and search warrants were obtained in part on this basis, the office ultimately determined that the evidence was not sufficient to obtain and sustain a conviction under FARA or Section 951. That is odd, because I'd like to see what evidence that was. You know what I mean? Especially for them having to even put that as more than a footnote in this report. For instance, Wienergate is a footnote in this report, Luke, but there's no section on it. So, it's in reference, I think, to some of the articles that are out there, but they don't actually have it in the report. That is really interesting about Papadopoulos.
Yeah. The Wienergate. We recently did a video about the Wienergate investigation in relation to this kind of Russian collusion. What was the headline on that? I forgot.
The Russian. Wait. What did we do on? There was a Wienergate headline with Russian collusion.
Well, we talked about the FBI investigation, not exonerating, but specifically with Hillary Clinton. We recently did a video about this, and we talked about extensively Anthony Weiner about 3 weeks ago, I believe.
Oh, it was. I have no idea what the name was, but I think we were talking about the Lisa Page testimony that had come out. Yes. Basically, when we had Page's testimony come out in digital format, it had some more stuff on the Weiner laptop, and then we went back to the IG report. I do remember that.
And that specifically, Hillary Clinton worked out a deal where specific elements of those laptops will be, not held accountable to the law. That was it specifically. Do you remember exactly those specific cases?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you want to talk about that, basically any of those emails that were found on Weiner's laptop, the ones that were found on Weiner's laptop with either Huma Abedin or Hillary Clinton that had anything to do with the campaign were totally exempt from being investigated by the FBI. And it was said so in these documents in not so, in legalese language. It is interesting. Check this out, Luke. There is more on the Israeli government and Papadopoulos. I mean,
let's get into that in just a little bit. But the point that you just made, I kind of want to build on top of, because when we have that happening to Hillary, saying, "Hey, yeah, everything illegal. Don't look at this. It's fine." Making a deal with the FBI. The FBI is literally raiding the door of Trump's lawyer, like getting all the information, getting all the tapes, again, looking into him so ferociously. And again, this is what we have. It
sitting on Capitol Hill, basically telling everybody what a bad guy Trump is, and it still can't give you any like Russian collusion. Listen, Cohen was a fixer for sure, no doubt about it. And it's just so funny how they basically used all their power that they possibly could to go in and raid his office, knowing there was no Russian collusion to begin with. But our intelligence community knew there was going to be some Russian collusion. It wasn't, but anyway. And then he flips because he doesn't want to do prison time, and it looks like he's still going to do prison time.
Before we get into Israel, I just want to thank all the people who are donating on D Live and, of course, YouTube. I want to thank It's Amito for the follow, Jade for the 1 lemon, Bigfoot Bill for the follow, and 2 lemons. Really appreciate all your guys' supports, the hearts, the ice creams. I say important stuff. Followed us as well. Just gave us 1 ice cream on there. D Live works on a different kind of cryptocurrency backed platform. Big Log gave 5 lemons. They're called lemons, limes, ice creams that people are able to donate and follow on there. Don't ask me why, but that's the terminology that they use there. Jabbar77, thank you. JP Rico, thank you. Mamox Mycroft, thank you. Again, Jabbar77, and again, Bigfoot Bill. And I think we also have a super chat. I think we have some super chats.
We have a few super chats. Hey, I just sent you a message over on Facebook. Check that out quick. So okay. Chris Primer Alpha assets or beta bucks. I'm not sure what you're talking about, sir, but thank you for tuning in, and we do appreciate the $10 super chat. Did AG Barr see WikiLeaks did nothing wrong unless WikiLeaks hacks? Some people are saying he said that possibly at the press conference. I tuned in while the press conference was going. I have not seen that yet, but I'll tell you what, we do have the transcript right here. So I'm going to say Control F and WikiLeaks. Let's see. Yeah, something like that. It says the GRU transferred some of the stolen materials to WikiLeaks for publications. WikiLeaks then made a series of document dumps. Let's see. I think that's about it. Those are the only two terms of WikiLeaks. So if he said it, would have had to been in that section. Let's see. And then we have two $1 super chats from Slap-Parkour. Thank you very much.
And then we also have a very interesting video that I kind of wanted to highlight with the kind of contentious shock that has been happening between the media and, of course, our Attorney General, Robert Barr, that I think is interesting to highlight here. A lot of people are playing on social media. Should we just get into it, or do you want to introduce it, Jason?
Yeah, it's basically, Bob Barr is he's not a stupid man. And some of these questions are just very unintelligent. And he's able to give her a quip pretty quickly.
Says here, a Republican-appointed judge on Tuesday said you have, quote, created an environment that has caused a significant part of the American public to be concerned about these redactions. You cleared the president on obstruction. The president is fundraising off of your comments about spying. And here you have remarks that are quite generous to the president, including acknowledging his feelings and his emotions. So what do you say to people on both sides of the aisle who are concerned that you are trying to protect the president?
Well, actually, the statements about his sincere beliefs are recognized in the report, that there was substantial evidence for that. So I'm not sure what your basis is for saying that I am being generous to the president.
You face an unprecedented situation. It just seems like there's a lot of effort to go out of your way to acknowledge how this.
Well, is there another precedent for it?
No, but it's unusual.
Okay, so unprecedented is an accurate description, isn't it?
Yes, but
Okay.
what do you say to people who are trying to protect the president?
He's right. He's right.
Yeah, no, he is. Listen, Barr has been really smart on this, and I just think that he had to go the political route. They all knew that this was not going to end. Again, this is two large sections. The one section dealing with, again, the collusion, heavy redactions. You're going to hear about a lot of people on the left, the Democrats. See, this proves it. Look at all these redactions. When my guess is a lot of that has to do with the ongoing IG report investigation, Nunes, how this investigation started in the first place. The second half, again, with the F-bomb and all that other stuff, let me tell you something. They're going for him. A lot of this stuff is in the public domain. We're talking about articles that are out there. If you see the footnotes, you can see that there's a ton of stuff, transcripts. Luke, I'm telling you, they are going to gun for him, and we're going to see Mueller sometime soon after he gets subpoenaed, just like Pelosi and Schumer want. That's my prediction, my man. Do you see it any differently?
I don't know. Pelosi previously said she doesn't think impeachment is the right thing to do. She is head of many important committees in Washington, D.C. She does get a lot of insight. She does get a lot of information. I mean, she's pretty much the dwelling creature of the Senate and the House, and she has her ear to the ground. And if she's saying, I don't think impeachment is good here, I'm seeing CNN stretch so many different things. I'm seeing Robert Mueller stretch things. He literally just made a statement and saying, well, the way Trump publicly acted can be considered obstruction of obstruction. Come on. Let's get some definitive things in here. I think the people had enough. I think that I agree with some of the general assessment that I'm seeing online with people saying that Bill Barr did not misrepresent the Mueller report. Do you contest that, Jason, or what do you think of that kind of larger assessment that I'm seeing here?
I'm sorry. What were you saying, Luke? What was your
point?
That
specifically, Bill Barr did not misrepresent Mueller's findings. Do you think that is correct to say?
That's tough. I mean, I think they're going to make the argument there. Misrepresent, I don't know that he necessarily misrepresented. He definitely did not use the language they did on how they did not exonerate him or put the emphasis. He was honest that it was two sections, that it was not, just the section on collusion, but I don't think he could have got around that. I don't think he was dishonest. misleading perhaps, and really playing into what the media propaganda out there is, that he may have broken the law. We don't know for sure. They couldn't find any Russian collusion. That's not necessarily meaning that it didn't happen. You know what I mean? There's no point where they say that no Russian collusion happened in this report. They say they couldn't find evidence of Russian collusion directly with the campaign. So they leave that completely open-ended, and then they push for obstruction of justice. That's my take on it, Luke. I mean, I don't know how much more I'm going to have to say before I actually read through this. I think it's interesting that Papadopoulos and Israel are a part of this. I think it's interesting that they, basically just shot the Seth Rich theory.
Well, they mention here specifically that it was WikiLeaks and Assange that fueled the alleged conspiracy theories. Again, we don't know a lot of truth around that case since there's been so much secrecy and mystery around that case in itself. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, yeah, but with that case, we can say this. People like Seymour Hersh, who have brought us just amazing journalism. I'm not saying you should, believe everything he says, but documentation, and really got into the nitty-gritty of what Manning put out there. He was the one to report on Abu Ghraib. His secret conversations say straight up that Rich is the leaker. And I know there's another person out there, I can't remember that person's name right now, that has also been associated with this, Luke, not just Seth Rich and these leaks. And there's a lot more to the story. But you notice they didn't even try to find out that story. Instead, they gave us some Russian GRU Guccifer 2.0 friend of Putin, associate of Putin, Kushner's friend who was with an associate of Putin that talked to Putin and Putin and Putin and Putin. Like I did the search on Putin in here. The Pootster's everywhere, guys. You can't get away from old Poot in this. But there's never a direct connection between Putin and what? The Trump administration. So, yeah.
I mean, I'm watching CNN right now, like literally behind the camera, and literally all of them are like, I'm like, come on. Vice News also jumped the shark a long time ago. These people, right now, Trump colluded is trending on Twitter. I still don't understand the absolute lunacy. The people who pushed this lie on the American people, who divided this country, who knowingly just did the bidding of the intelligence agencies without question, just regurgitating hatred and lies and bullcrap, should all put their heads down in shame, just like we're seeing some of the body language on CNN right now, and absolutely be disgraced. If we had a just world, a lot of these individuals would be downranked in the algorithm, would be labeled fake news. They would have been many corrective measures on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube saying, hey, you shouldn't trust CNN. They lied to you for 3 years, and they lied so many other times. You shouldn't trust MSNBC. You shouldn't trust these people since they are proven liars. But we don't. We live in a world where independent media that actually looks into the bigger information here, that talks about the things that they won't dare to talk about. We are Change, another independent media. We're the ones being downranked. We're the ones being demonetized. We're the ones that they're scrubbing away from the search because they don't want you finding out the bigger truth around these larger incidences. And that's why I want to thank everyone who was a part of the conversation on the live streaming services that we just had here, all the people who super chat, and especially all the people who donate. If it's not for you guys on wearechange.org/donate, going there, wearechange.org/donate, we would not be here. You have no idea how financially constrained we are at sometimes, mainly because of the algorithm changes, mainly because of the demonetizations, mainly because of the establishment coming in and saying, well, you were correctly calling this for 3 years. Now we have to punish you for it. And that's literally what they're doing, when in reality, all of them have egg on their face. That's my take on it. Anything else you want to say, Jason? Do you want to close it off?
Yeah, guys, thank you so much for joining us on this very special live stream. Remember, we are putting out 4 videos a day, 3 on the backup, 1 on the main. Please subscribe to both this channel, Pulse Change, if you're not subscribed, and our We Are Change channel. Ring that bell so you know when we put up a new video or go live like this one with real breaking news, allowing you to read the documents with us. Please share this stuff on social media. After all, it's you guys sharing this with other people that gets the word out. But most importantly, guys, get out there and be the change you want to see in the world.